myself. It'll be interesting.
Well, now we're live.
Oh, hello.
So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a brand new episode of Whatever We Want with J and K. It's a very special episode edition of Whatever We Want because somehow, some way, we have convinced ourselves that we will be able to get through a live recording of this podcast series without shenanigans galore. And I already know that's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, well, technology has gone well. Knock on some wood.
Yeah. As I get ready for this painting to fall behind
drinks
me.
Drinks are flowing. Sure. I got my Instagram Live up because I'm old and don't know how to use Instagram Live and didn't realize y'all can just see my part of the conversation, not K's. But if you go over to Facebook and hit me up on Facebook, hit K up on Facebook, hit up Whatever We Want with J and K on Facebook and Chief Disruptor Productions on Facebook. These are all the places that you can watch our show.
I love that you did that because I just had time to go post on my personal page.
Good. Boom. We done loaded it all up. So everybody's on my Facebook right now. I see my little brother. I see my boy John. I see, what's up, Issa? I see Raquel. All you guys, go over to Facebook and come check us out over there. All right, I'm going to leave this up for a little bit longer if y'all just want to hear me cuss and be drunk for a minute. Cool.
Yeah, but if you join us on Facebook, you can leave comments. We'll be able to follow any comments and feedback that we're getting from folks. So, Jamal, let's just get into it, right? So first off, let me just say, so again, thank you to those of you who have been listening to us. Jamal and I have been kicking around this idea of doing a podcast. First of all, we're so ridiculous in our friendship. And Jamal, it already happened. What happened? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the joy of recording live. So before we even get into anything, Jamal knows every week when we get ready to record, there's shenanigans galore, always involving my wardrobe, my hair, all kind of problems. So I told him, I was like, I didn't have time to go get my nails done while I just came off a vacation and I didn't have time to go get my nails done because I preferred to spend that time with my family, right? So I decided not to go get my nails done. So right before we get on, I'm getting ready and I'm like, Jamal, my nails look terrible. So I'm just going to put on these press-on nails and pray they don't break off.
She whispered to me just like that.
Wait, y'all see? So this is real, y'all. Y'all getting a real deal, Holyfield. We're not even going to pretend with y'all like my nail has already fallen off.
You could have played it off like that was some type of design.
It was intentional, right.
Represents the white man and all the blackness.
Right. We got plenty of stuff to talk about the white man here in a minute. So we're going to get into it. But I want to just back up because we've been doing it for a few months, but it takes a little bit of time to get into a good flow. And so now this is actually episode number 9, which Jamal it seems like we're way further along than it feels like we've been doing this.
We haven't been canceled yet. We cancel ourselves.
Give it time. By the end of this.
I meant cancel like TV show cancel, not like shit that we say cancel because we've already been canceled by that.
Oh yeah, listen, plenty of times. But so I just want to kind of back up and give people context, especially for people who are brand new to us. So Jamal and I are best friends. We have been friends for good God, 20 something years.
Like Boys to Men was the thing. Jodeci was still a thing.
We were I still had hair. Look,
R. Kelly was somewhat acceptable.
I mean, yeah.
Pre-Chappelle show. We knew each other before the show. We knew each other so long. Kay actually signed me up for my first email address.
Isn't that crazy? I was telling somebody that, telling someone that the other day. Y'all have to forgive me. I just came back from Phoenix, where I spent time with my family and where weed is legal. And,
weed is legal.
I'm not gonna lie. It's 2 days later, and I'm like,
the edibles are just.
The edibles are like, they are not for the faint of heart.
All through your blood, huh?
Oh my God! Like seriously, like I'm, my tolerance is decent, and I'm like, no, edibles are not meant to be. Listen, I'm legit like this right now.
Edibles are the devil.
Well, not only that, but because I've been drinking alcohol, Lord, I've been drinking coffee all day to get ready for this afternoon. So I'm in this in between world of floating off of edibles and like just jittery because I got all this coffee in my body. So anyway,
I'm shouting out Bill Kaleo real quick. What's up, Bill Kaleo?
Hey, Bill.
You need a house here in New York. You hit up Bill Kaleo, Brooklyn Billy.
Next time I'm in the greater district or the what is it of see this y'all, I'm not joking about these edibles.
Oh boy, hey, we
it's
can't
be
blame it on alcohol yet. Shit, have you taken a sip yet?
No.
So ladies and gentlemen, our alcohol today. So we went a little. So usually we're known for being hard alcoholics, where we drink a whole bunch of whiskey. And anybody who knows me for real knows that I like the sweet alcohol. So I went to a place that's right in Plano called Dax. It is a Black-owned daiquiri spot.
Shout out to Black-owned daiquiri shops.
Right around the corner from the crib. So went over there real quick, got us some daiquiris. This one is called a Hurricane with an extra shot. We got 2 extra shots. A lady tried to upsell me, and I fell for it.
And I am not ready for that. I need a little bit longer into the program before I can get into it. So I'm going to try and step back and do this again. So just to kind of give everybody frame of reference. So Jamal and I have known each other for 20 something years, and our conversations are usually quite lively. They're full of debates, but also just good spirited fun. And for the longest, people have said, y'all need your own show. You need your own show. And so we've been kicking around this idea of doing a podcast series and really got serious about it this year. And so we've been recording. We've been having a good time, right, Jamal?
Oh, yeah.
I would say.
We promised each other if it ever became a headache, we'd stop, and it's not become a headache yet.
That's right.
She has stressed me a lot, and I have.
Oh yeah, no doubt, for sure. I mean, that's my job.
Not a headache yet. She's my radio wife, apparently.
Yeah, that's right. So all of that to say, so we've been having fun, we've been enjoying it, but part of, we're theatrically trained folks, right? So we enjoy a live audience. So the challenge with the podcast series is we don't get to see our audience, and so we often hear from people, mostly our family and friends, but still, regardless. But we do hear from people that they're enjoying the show, and so we were like, you know what? Let's do it live so we can actually talk to our audience. So we want you to know that we expect interaction tonight. So we'll be looking at our comments. So please leave comments if you have questions, thoughts about any of the topics. Weigh in. Even though the show is whatever we want, tonight is whatever we want, meaning you are included in the we. So if you have a topic, even if it's not something we're talking about, drop it in the chat. If we don't get to it tonight, which we jump all over the place. If you listen to our podcast, we literally cover whatever we want throughout the course of our discussion. So if we don't get to it tonight, if it's something of interest, we will definitely bring it back up in a future podcast. And for those of you who are not subscribed to our podcast, how else will you know when all this dope stuff is happening? So subscribe. We usually drop a new episode every Friday. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Amazon Music, Pandora, basically iHeartRadio, pretty much any place that you can find a podcast, we're there. So
Mama, we done made it. We came on up. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Yeah. So with that, I do want to back up. I've already told you all I was in Phoenix this past weekend, spending some time with my family. It's so interesting. So my sister's oldest son, her middle child, graduated from high school, so we were there to celebrate him, and her oldest daughter turned 20, and so it was really interesting spending time with them this weekend and talking with them, because Jamal, I realized we're now the elders.
Oh, wait.
Yo.
No, we still in the in-between.
No, bruh.
We're in between.
No. I understand what you mean in terms of like, we're not old, and we're not the matriarch and the patriarch of our families,
right,
but we are the elders. And what I mean is we're the aunties and uncles.
Yeah, okay.
We have now entered that phase of life where, and here's how I know that we're the elders. Here's how I know. Because over the weekend, I was surrounded by young people, high school students, college students, and the whole time I'm talking to them sometimes under the influence of edibles, and I'm talking to them and I'm asking them questions, and I'm going, why do you sound like that old lady when you come home? And the old lady's, well, how's school going, baby? And what you're studying? And what you plan on doing with that? Well, let me just tell you this, giving out advice completely unsolicited or request. I mean, just like going in, and I'm sitting here like, and I'm hearing myself going, nobody asked you for your opinion. No one asked you to weigh in. And I honestly did not care. I was like, so here's my thoughts,
here we go.
Thoughts
by Kay.
Now, what I will say is, no, that's Kay's Food for Thought. But
Kay's Food for Thought, another brand that we're pushing back out.
That's right. But what I will say is, in fairness to the young people, or to myself, I will say I'm a pretty cool aunt. I think my nieces and nephews would say that. Like, I'm pretty chill.
Put in the chat whether she's cool or not. You can tell me the truth. I'll tell her the truth. Okay.
Right. But so what I will say is, even though I have mature advice to give, I'm not one of those older people who, one, thinks they know everything and attempts to like lay a cookie cutter template across, that young person's life and say, you have to do it this way. This is the way it's done. Like, you ain't
lied to us like the old people used to lie to us.
Exactly.
If you do it this way, that way, everything will work out. You be
like, everybody's got a path, and you have to figure out what your path is. And sometimes it matches up with what everybody else is doing, and a lot of times it won't. So you just have to, and that's why you have to figure out, your own way forward. So it's been weird. Do you find? I mean, you're a teacher. You're in front of young people all the time. How do you? First of all, do you have that experience where you feel like, oh no, I'm an old person?
I think I've said it before on the podcast, and for those who haven't watched the podcast, you should watch it from now on. But I'm unapologetic.
It's not a video, but
yeah. Okay, shut up. I'm an unapologetic old man. I like being an old man. I like being
you've been
angry.
an old man since you were like 6 years old.
Yes, I like yelling at people. I like being pissed off. So for me, I live in that space all the time. So the older I get, I'm just like I'm meeting my goal. So yes, but I find myself like I was talking to my nephew today, and I said, son, you need to do this. My wife's like, do you say that all the time? I'm like, yeah, well, that's my stepfather, my uncle did to me, so that's what I'm doing to everybody else.
And I don't know when that happened. Like I mean, and it feels very natural to me to all of a sudden start giving this advice, but I don't know when that moment happened where, to your point, I'm saying to my nephews, young man, son, and I'm like, what?
but it's weird to be in that space to always be like you're saying, say young man, but at the same time you got reruns of Beavis and Butthead in your head. Like it's like I know
how much of a kid I still am, right?
Right.
Like honest to God, if my mother's watching right now, she's like, edibles? I'm 43 years old and I'm still like, please, Lord, don't let my mama call me and ask
Miss Sandra, I don't know what edibles are. Your daughter's
honestly, the truth is he's much more innocent in this capacity, in this particular situation than I am.
I get to be innocent, Hercules.
Meanwhile, he's still over here sipping.
Oh yeah, sipping. I'm almost done, girl. Come on now, catch up. Get your drink on. People from work who are watching this tomorrow, I will be a little off tomorrow.
Yeah, I forgot you have work tomorrow. I do not. I have been on vacation this whole week, but I have to tell you, it has not been. Listen, I love spending time with my family. I love spending, and we haven't, I had to remind myself. My younger sister and I went to go visit with my older sister and her family. And it was weird because we got to the airport and people were like screaming while we were out there. We were like, "Oh my God!" Because we're black, so we're used to we have to act right in public. Like when we make noise, like when we make noise, like, "Oh my God, girl!" Like people make a big deal out of us making noise, so we naturally have this thing when we hear people making noise, going, "Oh my God, what are they doing?" Like, And so what we realized was, most people haven't seen each other for a year. Oh my God. These are the things we would edit out, ladies and gentlemen.
Poof, just hit something. Oh, sorry, it attacked me first. Continue.
But no, so we heard these people, like these young ladies screaming at each other, like, "Oh my God."
Young ladies.
Yeah, but but we had to remind ourselves, my sister and I had to check ourselves and remember that, we've been in quarantine. Most people have not seen each other in a year. And places are just starting to open up. And Jamal, I know you have strong feelings. You're vaccinated. I'm vaccinated. Your family, everybody here is vaccinated, but I know you want to talk about this. So let's talk about it. What are your feelings about the
Get your asses vaccinated. Some of y'all are going to be mad at me, going at me. You can at me. I'll at you back. Listen. I know we're supposed to be in this culture of like, hey, well, everybody has their own way and we should do, we got to take people's situations, understand that. But when your situation affects my situation, when your situation affects the world situation, come on now, I heard people say they're scared of the shots, which I totally understand. The history in the Black community with shots and the government, I 100% get it. But at the same time, you have a choice between getting a disease, giving a disease, or shutting down the disease, right? So we're in the blue right now because everybody's outdoors and playing around and having a good time. I feel like I'm on my soapbox. I'm yelling.
You are, but it's fine.
You mother. No, sorry. But my main message here is I'm tired of having a conversation with people where they look at me and tell me under their breath, "I'm not vaccinated." Then I'm like, why are you around me? I understand.
Are these people that you've asked like for their status and they told you?
Well, there's the people that like, I'm great. So of course my daughter is under, if anybody knows, my daughter's 10 years old. She's all over the internet. Thank you, my wife. Anyway, my daughter.
I'm going to put a plug in there, but we're going to come back to that.
All right. She's 10 years old and she's not vaccinated because she can't be vaccinated. Right. So my feeling on that is that so I'm putting off trips. I'm watching wherever I go with my daughter. She's got a mask on and stuff like that, which is things that we normally do. But there's certain situations where I want to hang out with friends and stuff like that. And they're like, "Yeah, we're not vaccinated." I'm like, well, and then they look at me like, "But she won't get it. It's a low chance." I'm like, "Yeah, but what if she does?" So there's a story that just went around 2 weeks ago, about a family that went to Hawaii and their child who was with them, an 8-year-old child, died of COVID. And like, I understand that it's lightning striking, but lightning striking doesn't matter if it strikes your ass. Right. So I understand the sensitivities around this all around. I done talked to family about it, friends about it, and yeah, you can at me all you want, but that's my feeling. Get vaccinated, dude. There's countries India is dying for vaccinations. In America, you got to have a damn lotto for people to get a vaccination. A lady won $1 million because she accepted a vaccination, which makes me mad that I didn't wait till later. But
I was about to say, well, okay, so here's what I will say about that. I generally, obviously, I agree with you to some extent because I got vaccinated. But I got vaccinated. Honestly, I had a lot of hesitation. You know this, right? About getting vaccinated for all the reasons that you
did too. I did too.
Yeah. We talked about it significant for a while, right? And you all were able to make that shift much sooner than I was, but it wasn't too many weeks after that and honestly, what made me come around was, ironically enough, I'm working on a project with a client that is about medical research and the exclusion of Black folks in clinical trials and people of color in clinical trials. But anyway, so I'm of two minds, right? One, I don't ask people for their status any more so than I ask them what their STD information is, because it's not my business. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, if we're not engaging with each other, I'm not asking you for those, because it's your personal health information. So I'm respectful of that. Now, when we start trying to make plans, just the same way as if we were getting ready to be physically intimate, now it's my business, because now you're in my space, right? So I approach it as such. Like it really is. I think the way in which you approach it, in the sense of, if you want to spend time with me, here are my parameters, here's my criteria, right? I do think that there are people who are not taking the vaccine for medical reasons. I know people who are whether they're cancer patients or what have you, their immune systems are weak, and so they don't know what they can take. They don't know how those things.
And that makes 100%
right. And so that's why I'm saying, like, so for me, it's not a blank check of everybody should get vaccinated. I think that it is a personal choice, but I think you have to understand that if it's a personal choice, that means that a lot of people will not be comfortable around you if you're not vaccinated. Right. And that's just a risk you have to be willing to take. Now, the flip side of that is, my hope is that we can, and I mean, it's as good as it will be with people being honest, but that people will maintain, at least the people in my circle will maintain an honor code, right? Which is, don't lie to me about what you're doing. Like, if you're out in the streets, fine, be out in the streets, but be out in the streets vaccinated. Now, they
already done lied to you. There's lies out there.
1,000%. They're 1,000% they are. Like, even when we went to Phoenix, we got in an Uber a couple of times. We were in an Uber, and the people both times, actually only one guy said this, and that was the guy when we were coming back, and he was like, "Oh, the mandate has been lifted. We don't have to wear masks here, so you're free to take your mask off in the car." And I immediately thought, how many other people have you told to take your mask off, and some of which are either carriers or will potentially be carriers? And I was like, even though I'm vaccinated, I'm just like, I'm erring on the side of caution. I'm careful to not wade into the, I'm not, you just stay away from me if you're not vaccinated, is basically my feeling about it. But yeah, I do take your point, especially when you're talking about, now we're in the summertime, you have children, and you're bringing them in different spaces. I want to switch gears a little bit though.
Let's do it.
I want to talk, we just came off of Memorial Day, and I actually know you posted about this. So we're just coming off of Memorial Day, a holiday invented by free Black folks to honor the Civil War, I was about to say Confederate, but the Civil War soldiers who died during the Civil War. So if you don't know, Memorial Day was created by formerly enslaved Black folks who, in a recognition of the folks, whether you agree that this is actually what happened, but the folks who fought in the Civil War on their behalf, right? They created this holiday, this memorial holiday. So this past weekend, retired Army Colonel Bernard Kempter, I'm shouting my boy Bernard out. No, we're going to shout out Bernard.
Let's go.
Because Colonel Bernard Kempter, who was a keynote speaker at an event this weekend, began his discussion, a white man, began his discussion about Memorial Day by talking about the history of Memorial Day and how it came to be. In the midst of him sharing this, 2 minutes of his 11-minute long speech, by the way, the organizers of that event, and I'm going to call their names out too, Cindy Sue Chan and Jim Garrison, intentionally turned this man's mic off while he was talking about how Memorial Day was created by former slaves by saying, quote, "It was not relevant to our program for the day." So they knew that
it's a Memorial Day program.
And therefore it is relevant. Correct? Right. Yeah. So anyway, yes, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
It's just...
They can't give us nothing, man. They're like, y'all didn't build this country. Y'all didn't help create this country.
It's just, and the thing is, it's just the discomfort. This is a small statement in the very beginning of his speech.
2 minutes out of an 11-minute speech that is literally he can't even talk about the origin of the organization of the holiday, because they're so threatened that it somehow will make them being white people look racist. Well, ma'am, sir, you were.
And then when you have people like, I was watching that, I can't help it, you're gonna yell at me. I keep watching this idiot Bill Maher. Bill Maher done turned the corner on a big corner. I'm gonna get to that later on, but he's almost on the line of white fragility doesn't exist. And then we have situations like this, which is 100%. They couldn't be.
Bill Maher is the living embodiment of white fragility. Right? Everything he does is based on his fragile ego.
So my thing is, we just keep having these situations over and over again, whether it's Sharon Osbourne, the idiot from Britain, that if you spend more than 2 minutes talking about something black, oh my God, like they freak out. And it's like, yo, dude.
But my thing is, you're literally talking about the history of the holiday.
Right. It's not
like, if you can't talk about, but you know what? I shouldn't even say that, because I know we wanted to talk about the 1619 Project and what's going on with Nicole Hannah and her Hannah Jones and her the denial of her tenure. So we're gonna switch gears, but that is a perfect example of anytime we try and do anything, even if it's just to tell history accurately.
Right. To accurately tell history. Nothing controversial at all. We're just stating the actual facts.
Facts. And this is exactly what happened.
This is why you made the perfect segue. So the 1619 Project, for anybody who's had the chance, the New York Times in 2019 released the 1619 Project in August, and it is an amazing, a bunch of poems, articles, essays. They did a podcast that I cannot recommend highly enough. And it's simply telling the whole truth of American history. And the thing, this is the problem. The problem with people when they interpret American history is that they're unable to see that Thomas Jefferson had many different, there's parts of Thomas Jefferson. There's the dude that's wrote We the People, and then there's the dude that wrote, yeah, but black people ain't a whole person. You're on mute, sweetie.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm just amening you. Sorry.
Right. So my thing is, like, we want to talk about the apple pie that is America, but we want to talk about there's some fucked up.
But we don't want to talk about how we got those apples.
Right. So the 1619 Project is first of all, it's nothing controversial.
No.
It's more so putting into a wider frame the actual origin of America. Mm-hmm. That without black slavery, the empire of America would not exist. Mm-hmm. This is not that's
a fact. It's not even a question.
It is not questionable at all.
At all.
Just with free labor and agriculture and factory, all the things.
Yo, can I go a step further? My sister and I watched this amazing and I know everyone has been talking about this. There's a documentary on Netflix, and it's actually like a series. It's several different episodes called High on the Hog, and it talks about African American cuisine and how it is American cuisine. Specifically, they trace everything, all of the ingredients like okra and like black eyed peas. Things that did not exist in America, they were literally brought over with the slaves, the free enslaved people that were brought here, right? Right. Like literally brought here. It was like, so not only did we build this country for you on our backs, we created your culture. We literally created the food that you eat. We created all of these things with no recognition of it. And then now you want to get mad because we're like, let's talk about this.
No. I saw a segment of that show, and what I thought, okra was some white stuff. Mm-hmm. I had no idea until I watched the thing like, that came over with, like, that is Southern cuisine.
To the point of, no, but to the point of, because I'll be honest, I always was like, well, what do you mean they brought it over? Like, honestly, the folks who entrapped those people brought it over because they knew they wouldn't eat. That if you move to a new land and you're not accustomed to that food, the odds are you will not eat, which means you won't be healthy, which means you won't be able to do this free labor that we have that you're going to do, right? So we have to make sure you bring comforts of home with you in order to make it. And honestly, I don't know if you saw this in the documentary, but one of the things that he said that just touched me so much was a lot of them came in through Charleston, South Carolina, right?
Right.
And the way in which the water and the coastline looks, it looks a lot like the West African coastline. Wow. So a lot of slaves, when they were approaching the destination, they thought it had been like some kind of cruel joke where they were like being returned.
We're going back home. They thought we're going.
But it was just the beginning of, like, you know what I mean? Like, and so when you think about that, Like, and so I was like, but then y'all want to know why we want to talk about it? Because we've never talked about
right.
it.
And that's the thing. And so now with the 1619 Project, Nicole Hannah-Jones, this project's amazing. It really puts it put things into a perspective that I've never seen done so holistically, right? So Nicole Hannah-Jones works at University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, and she was up for tenure. Now, the Nicole Hannah-Jones, I'm looking on the internet right now. Her list of accolades are ridiculous. She works for the New York Times. She's won George Polk Award, Infinity Award. She won, I'm looking for the big one, the MacArthur Genius Grant. So she is clearly Journalist of the Year, a National Award magazine. So I'm looking at, if you're talking about people who are getting tenure.
Wait, did you already list off her Pulitzer Prize? I just
want to make sure that excuse me, my bad.
Hello?
Her Pulitzer Prize, right? So my
for
thing is
the 1619 Project, by the way.
This sister is over qualified for this tenure. There is no, and in the 1619 Project, I want to make sure this is clear, is not controversial. It's not, this is not anything that is outside of the realm of reality, right? So for her to not receive her tenure, mostly because of this, which is being verified as people start to check the receipts of why people made their decisions, is ridiculous.
I just want to interrupt you and say, not mostly because of this, entirely because of this.
Thank you. I'm sorry. You're right.
No, you're fine. But I also want to just shout, because I want to say every Black person, but I know every Black woman who has ascended to a certain level in her career immediately knew when they saw the news announcement, all of us were like,
right.
Because not one of us was surprised. It's one of those things, I should say it like this. We were surprised, but not at all shocked, because this is the way that it goes for us. Like you whatever you've done in your career, whatever, progress you've made, however much of an expert you may be in a space, they will be quick to remind you of who you are and what your place is, at least in their mind. Right. And so it's so interesting to me that all this happened and so many people, and I'm specifically talking about like my white friends, were like, I don't understand what the problem is. And I was like, y'all do know Black women and Black people go through this all day, every day. Right. This just happens to be published and put into the media for you to, it's the same thing as we talk about like the police killings, these murders of
finally seeing it is being documented. This happens all the time behind closed doors. Right. Now it's like up and open in the front. In this case, it's just
it's so egregious
that it makes your stomach hurt.
So egregious. Oh, and there was an article, I want to say in The Root today, that so they because they've been trying to keep it hush hush as to who was bringing this all about. So I'm gonna tell y'all who it is.
Say their names. Say their names.
Hold on, I want to make sure I get it all
email
the way right. But I will tell you, it was a major donor from the school, and I believe the donor had donated like $25 million. And so for me, as I pull up the name, because I want to make sure because y'all can write this person.
So I've heard about this donor too. This donor was actually, he had problems with her being hired in the first place.
Oh, really?
Because he said he thought that she was going to bring negative attention, because Nicole Hannah-Jones does a lot of investigative reporting. A lot of investigative reporting has it talks about Black people.
Yeah.
Continue.
Well, no, you're fine. And it's also part of this ongoing trend we've been seeing around critical race theory. So, I mean, critical race theory, for those of you all who don't know it, I'm just going to give it to you in layman's terms. It's basically what the 1619 Project is. It is taking our historical experiences that have happened throughout history and adding the framework of how does race play into this, and
putting race into context historically, which for some reason seems to be the scariest thing on earth now.
Well, it's scary because people like to pretend that racism doesn't exist, particularly here in the US. It's like, no, but all men are free. Well, first of all, you're not acknowledging us as men. And we're not even going to talk about the fact that women are not included or even acknowledged, and we're not even going to get into that. But like all of these things that exist, if you are a white man, right, like these don't apply to Black people. So yeah, you do have to look at the impact of race, because it has impacted everything that's happened in this country. So
well, and also, like, why can't we be adults enough to say that Thomas Jefferson was a genius? He was. But he also owned 600 slaves.
As you famously like to say, both things can be true.
Right. So my thing is, like, let's be adults in the room here, that we can say that both things are true. And then I hate the argument of, well, that's the way it was in the time. Not necessarily.
So
There are plenty of abolitionists. There are plenty of abolitionists who are saying that this is wrong. We should not.
And hello, most of the North did not have slaves. That was the whole argument of the Civil War, which was these folks who are up north are upset because we have free labor and they don't. And it's like, well, the free labor are enslaved people. Like, it's not free. It's free to you. It's not free to them.
Right.
Oh my.
Yeah. And that's how America was built. Some of the comments mentioned the techie in Charleston.
Oh, the techie in Charleston. Oh, that must be the donor. Thank you, Jayla. Sorry. So our great production assistant Jayla is in the chat. So yeah, if you all have comments, definitely drop them in the Facebook comment section, and Jayla is going to share them with us. Jayla, if you want to just copy in and paste them here, the Geechee. Oh, yeah.
So I don't know this reference exactly.
She's talking about the Gullah. Yeah.
Oh, you don't say words that these are all Louisiana words that I've heard before.
That's not a Louisiana word. That's not
Gullah and Geechee.
Well, Geechee.
Okay,
but we're not gonna do it. We're not gonna do a Louisiana history test.
Okay, I honestly don't know what I'm saying right now. If I offended anybody by repeating words, I don't care, because that's how words work. So
no. Actually, I do want to for all of our white listeners who are like, what am I listening to? Don't worry, we're gonna.
Actually, revolution's about to be televised.
I was about to lie. I was about to say we're not even going to talk about race that much tonight, but that's a lie. Because the next thing I want to talk about is I'm going to find the name of the donor. I can't find the article handily right now, or easily right now. So, but I will find that and put it after the show. I'll put it in the comments. But one thing I want to say is, to me, other than the obvious racism, is it underscores the power of donating. Right. And as someone who's worked in the nonprofit space for a long time, I can tell you all that donors who consistently give, even if you're not giving a large amount, but even particularly if you give a large amount, you have a great amount of influence. And so to that point, so interestingly enough, so that donor attempted to use his power for evil. And we have another donor who, a 25-year-old who received, I guess when they turned 25, they found out they had a whole bunch of money that was left to them in a trust or whatever. So this 25, nice. I know, right? This 25-year-old donated a 6-figure donation to a nonprofit in Kentucky. It was a local nonprofit that specifically serves Black and marginalized communities there in Kentucky, because this person found out that their great-grandfather had owned slaves. And so this person made this donation as their form of reparations. And I was like, now, if you're going to be a donor, that's what I need you to do with the power of your dollars, is to impact change. Go ahead. You want to say?
I was about to say, so I want to get reparations, but that should be part of our Juneteenth special. The Juneteenth special, ladies and gentlemen. Coming up in 2 weeks, but we ain't gonna talk about.
Oh my gosh!
Right that donor's name though. That donor's name is Walter Hussman. Hussman. He denies exerting pressure over Hannah Jones hiring. Of course he does.
Right. What's his name again?
Walter Hussman.
Okay, we're gonna put that in our comments. Maybe Jayla, when you get a second, maybe you can go in and drop that name in there, and then if we can find out what company he owns, y'all send him letters. Let them know. Go on Twitter, blow up the spot.
If he owns something that we can buy, don't buy that shit.
Right. I got one more thing in the space of race, although the space of race. I like look, we're gonna keep coming back to it. Okay, now I got another bone to pick. Now I love a good European jaunt. I love to go to Spain. I love to go to Italy.
Say the word jaunt.
I sure did, and I meant it. Don't judge me. Read, Negro. Read. A lot of Karen moms are rallying hard together. It's not just Karen moms. There's a lot of people rallying against critical race theory being taught in schools. Yeah, I mean, not only are they rallying against it, but literally Republican leaders are introducing bills into law where state governments won't receive funding in certain instances. So there's definitely a war. And pay attention to your local elections, folks. I know here in Texas, left and right, civil rights are being I mean, honestly, it's so bad here in Texas. I'm legit I just moved here 2 years ago, and I'm legit thinking about leaving. Like,
but give them some props
for no other reason than the politics. Like, I love everything else about it, but I was like, I'm over that.
Give them some props. You saw the Senate, the Texas Senate the Democrats walked out when they're trying to change voting rights, and I'm like, okay, cool. I see.
Yeah, I also saw that the governor threatened to not pay them if they didn't come back and vote.
Oh, that governor!
Oh, he's the worst. He is the absolute worst. I've never. No, I just
can't say that.
I don't even want to.
I can't say that.
You've already said it. We're gonna move on before people realize what you said. What I want to bring up is I was mentioning Europe because I love a good trip to Spain, and what I will tell you, my experiences in Spain as a Black woman have been great. I've had nothing but great experiences, but
Her jaunt.
So they released on the anniversary of George Floyd's death, in an effort to show, solidarity, support of Black people and people of color in their country. Their local government released these equality stamps and it was meant to promote diversity, inclusion, and all of that. So here's the gag, y'all. So they released this. So these stamps were, they were called equality stamps, right? The folks in Spain released these stamps, and they went from every skin tone to white, like this wall right here, to darker than me, to the Black and Jamal studio, right? Like they went all the range. So here's the thing, though, and they released this on the anniversary of George Floyd's death because they were like, Black Lives Matter. All of the stamps from light to darkest became less valuable. Like they cost less the darker the stamp got. So the expensive stamps are the ones that are white, and the cheap ones are the ones that are Black.
And it's supposed to be equality.
It's literally called equality stamps. Yeah. And I was like, the fact that, first of all, whenever I see these things as a marketer, my first thought is, who are y'all paying to, like, these people are clearly falling down on the job. Like this is not even rocket science to figure out that this is a terrible.
That Dave Chappelle talks about, of something being so racist is funny. It's like,
right?
that's yeah.
Like it seems like something you would see on a TV show. Like it's so ridiculous. You're like, people really did that? Like,
or just like somebody being in a boardroom making these decisions and that nobody caught. Like, hey, so what's the price?
Not one person.
And now one person's like, yo, why are we making prices? Why is that happening?
And real talk, if it was somebody, because I've been I was just telling my sister this about how in my former life, I was in a room once and we were casting for a commercial. And of course, I was putting in my bid for there to be more people who look like me in the commercial. And I was told, well, we have diversity. She's a redhead. And y'all, I'm not kidding. A white woman, a white redhead. That was their answer to diversity. And I was like,
I'm not hating on the gingers.
Are we
say ginger anymore?
Yo, listen, I love a good redhead, but that's not diversity. not in the sense of what we're talking about. I was like, come on, man, seriously. So we don't get we can only get Black people when they look ambiguous and they could be anything. But
ginger lives matter. Sorry.
basically. To that point, I'm gonna switch. I thought I was gonna switch gears. I was about to be like, let's talk about something non-race related, but this is also related to that.
Okay, can we pause? Wow. So okay, so in the chat just saying my wife this name. I'm gonna say her whole government name. Nicole Narcisse Sterling. I'm saying I'm calling you out.
Wait, no, say a whole government name. She'll be mad.
Nicole, Rosalia, whatever the hell you calling yourself. We got to get that straight. If anybody in Nicole's family could tell me what my wife's real middle name is, because she didn't know it for 20 years. She just said she wants me to say, all right, I'm gonna hate on Louisiana for a minute. I'm sorry.
Wait. Let me spell the word. Let me spell it.
Let's spell it.
And I'm saying this as a Louisiana native, so all the folks from New Orleans and the surrounding areas will know this. TCHOUPITOULAS.
All right. So living in New Orleans for about 5 years, I would drive on the freeway going across the river, and there's always this street exit that had those letters.
Me going to the West Bank.
Going to West Bank, that's it. Whatever. There's a river right there. I went across the river.
Yeah, but nobody says I go across the river. Go ahead. You went to the West Bank.
What the hell?
The West Bank is the best bank.
Across the river. Anyway,
shout out to Algiers.
Algiers. The word was, I used to call it T'Chopolis because I had no idea. And the name of the word is Chopatulus. I didn't know the name of this word until Mystical used it in a rhyme once. And I was like, oh, that's what that is? I thought it was T'Chopolis. And you get, so my wife wanted to try and embarrass me with that, but I know it now. It's Chopatulus. It don't make no sense. Half the words y'all have don't make no sense, but it's okay. Bruh.
Look, your wife just said, did you put my whole name on there? She was like, don't try to put my whole name on there.
Nicole, Rosalia, Narcisse Sterling.
Well, it would help if you knew her whole name. That would be helpful.
Rosalia, I don't know what the hell her name is.
Oh, Lord.
I love you, God. Baby. Don't cancel me. I don't want to be canceled.
Oh, God. Please don't cancel him. Because listen, if y'all end up being canceled, I'm going to have to go with Nicole. So.
God damn it.
I mean, I love you, friend, but
everybody does that. Everybody,
yeah, I mean, she's pretty dope.
All right, so before my wife interrupted our discussion, thank you, wife. Be quiet. And don't act me. Tell my wife to be quiet. Here y'all go.
Hey,
you ain't gonna say
not too much more of that.
Y'all gonna start Beyonce and
that's
shit
right.
Like that.
That's right.
Calm down, Beyonce. You fine. All right.
Oh my God, really?
Captain
Obvious.
She fine.
Oh God.
No, I love
You hate Jay-Z? Why?
I love Jay-Z.
I was gonna say, of all the people to hate,
I'll never. I mean, I'm jealous.
Yo, listen. I'm sure there are a lot of people who
like he's the first rapper that can put stuff in his raps and they're all true. But continue.
Best rapper alive. That's what he said. You know what I want to talk about?
Go ahead.
Oh, for sure. Who would you say the best rapper alive is?
Rakim is the best rapper alive. Rakim, every rapper raps like Rakim. A lot of people about to at me because they don't know the history of rap.
I was just about to say, yeah, I think honestly, anybody who knows hip hop, it's so funny that you said that because this past weekend I actually wanted to talk about this, about old school stuff, getting into old school stuff, because I spent the weekend rewatching Brown Sugar. I watched that movie like 18. I'm not exaggerating. I watched it like probably 5 times this weekend. Wow. And I, that's why? Aggressive. Well, here's why. One, because I love a good chocolate romance, but also because I was like, as I was watching it, I forgot how much, like, I watched it like that when it first came out because I love hip hop. And so, as you know, right. And so I'm watching it and I'm rewatching it. First of all, I go restart it over and over again because the opening of it is like all these legends, right? Talking about how they came to love hip hop. Right. So it's so interesting.
Which to me is the dopest part of the movie.
Right, absolutely. It definitely is. But I love throughout how the reflection on hip hop as a culture, because for so long, even now, but there used to be this thing where she says it in the movie, how people assume that hip hop was a fad. And it is very much that thing. It's like, now you looking up and we got, to your point, now we got old school legends like Rakim that my niece probably has never heard of.
Right. And Rakim is honestly the origin of current rap, as you especially talking about your flows and your New York rappers. But even beyond that, so he's so seminal to the transition from the to
I would say
he's the flow.
Yeah, and I was gonna say he's the first conscious rapper, but that's not true because Melly Mel for sure.
But yeah, Melly Mel, and you say KRS One was kind of at the same time.
Oh, for sure, yeah. But I agree with you. There was a heft. I would say a weight to his
right. And when Rakim came out, everything changed.
Changed.
All rappers changed. It
went from Sugar from what is it?
Sugar Hill Gang. I'm close to the edge. I'm trying, or the Fat Boys or something like that, which is all dope. Don't get me wrong, it's dope.
But there was a specific cadence, right? And now was like we can break the mold and do whatever we want.
Right.
No pun intended. So here I want to know your thoughts on this, because I know you and I tend to. I don't know. I'm much more. Do whatever you like. But I'm sure you've heard Monique posted a video, the comedian Monique posted a video this past week. Monique. I know you're a big fan.
I love Monique so much.
She posted this video, and I honestly haven't seen the video. I've just seen a few people weighing in about Black women wearing bonnets in public.
My wife was talking to me about this the other night. Yes, I heard about this.
So you've heard about this. So yes. What are your thoughts about this?
Oh, good Lord, I'm about to get canceled. Okay.
Probably.
So listen.
Oh, don't do that. Listen,
Linda. Listen,
I gotta put my glasses
Linda.
On because now I'm like.
Now you're putting her glasses like I'm.
I've gotten to the grandma. I've gotten to the grandma portion of me. Like I can't see the baby.
You do what you do how you do. But as for me and my household, we take our bonnets off before we go to anywhere. My daughter, we ain't going out there like that.
Why do you think that is? What's your rationale?
My rationale is that I was always taught to be presentable in public.
Mm-hmm.
I know people have different.
Why are bonnets not presentable?
It's just it is pajama wear.
Is it?
Is it? I'm asking you. Usually, when I see people in bonnets, it's accompanied with pajamas. So my thing is like I wouldn't go, even when I'm going to the hood Walmart in the middle of the night. I try to put on something that looks all right. Here's some jogging pants, a t-shirt. Like, yeah, you dress down, but it's not crazy, right? So that's my concern, is that we're sitting up here and it's like I'm gonna take this someplace else. So there used to be a thing where church transitioned to come as you are, which is totally fine. But the come as you are was more of a thing as come as you are because you're unable to come as anything else, as opposed to, man, I just came from the club. I gotta hit the church up in the morning. I'm gonna wear these Jordans, these jeans to church. Is it come as you are, or is it we're getting lazy as a culture because we don't want to go above and beyond, right? Now, there's a lot of pressure to put on somebody going to Walmart in the middle of the night to get a pizza roll or something like that. I understand that. My thing is that I've been raised to come with it, come with your best, or come with, and I don't think it's respectability politics at all. I think it's more come out. I've always been taught to be presentable in public. My daughter will never be wearing a bonnet or pajamas in
But don't you think that the pressure on Black people to be quote unquote presentable is greater than it is on white people? And I'll give you specific examples. I think about how, like, when we went to Dillard, you couldn't come to class in pajamas.
Oh no, not at all.
You could not. Right. But when you go to a PWI, nobody cares what you wear to class. I mean, I've seen people come up in there like quite literally, basically in their drawers. But like, and I'm not exaggerating.
But see, like, what I just heard, my translation in my brain, my weird brain just said, we go above and beyond, and we should continue to.
So here's my thing about that. So you and I talk about this a lot, which is, and we talked about this in our last episode. If you haven't listened to our last episode, please do go check us out. Go subscribe.
Major streaming platform.
Tell them again, Jamal.
We talk like this all the time.
All the time. Sometimes just like NPR.
Sex. Just like this.
Oh, yo, we got a whole episode coming up about sex, dating, and relationships effective next week. Y'all, it was so in the weeds. We got so into it. We had to break that sucker up into multiple episodes. So definitely make sure you are signed up so you can hear it when it drops next week.
If you just want to hear me be uncomfortable for 90% of the time, you should listen to it.
I mean, it's not just us, by the way, because that would be awkward, super awkward. But we brought in some special guests. The first time we've had guests on the show, and we really got into the nitty gritty. So much so, yo, it was some stuff that was coming out the pike. I was like, I don't know, we can put this on. We might need to put this behind a paywall. Like,
you saying coming out the pike made me nervous. So, but anyway,
where I was going was, I think we mentioned in I don't know if it was that episode that we recorded or a previous episode where we talked about how Black people are held to these standards, and there are a lot of times standards that we put in place to protect ourselves, right? Like we have to be twice as good as they are. We have to always give them no room for error. And so to me, I hear the argument around respectability politics, and I do think that that's a valid argument, but I also will go a step further and say, to me, it's about liberation. Mm-hmm. Liberation is not having to even have to process the idea of what will white people think? Because truthfully, that's what we're talking about. Yeah, you care what Black people think, but truthfully, what we're worried about, you and I joke about this, like, don't dance in the store because they're going to think all we do is sit around shuck and jiving. And it's a joke, but it's real. It's like,
no, literally,
you legit, yeah, I was in
the Walmart.
Yeah, I was in the Walmart. I was in Walmart and I was like dancing and have a little moment. Jamal was like, please stop doing it. And I was like, and we were joking. Yeah, we were joking about it, but I legit was like frustrated because I'm like, I'm a Black woman who's happy. Why can't I just dance in the middle? I'm not being loud. I'm not being obnoxious. I'm not interrupting other people's experience. But because we have been conditioned to not do anything to draw attention to ourselves, to always be above reproach, or to always be above criticism. And part of the thing that I feel like have been dissecting in this last year or so is the notion that it really doesn't matter what we do. At the end of the day, they have their own opinions about us, and they're going to think what they think. And so here's what I say. I'm with you. As for me and mine, I probably will never leave the house with a bonnet on. That probably won't happen. That said, I'm not committing to never leaving the house on a bonnet. I saw somebody published, like, well, what if it was this designer bonnet? And I ain't gonna lie, I was like, that's kind of dope right there. The way it's looking.
If it looks good, wear it.
But here's my point though. Here's what I will say. For me, the question is less about, like, I keep hearing most of the people who I keep, and these are Black people, most of the people who I keep hearing who are like, you shouldn't wear that, who are really getting their feelings and getting frustrated by it. I keep hearing them say, because it's not respectable and it looks crazy. And I was like, so I'm working on this digital beauty exhibit that shows how Black women are held to different standards. And I keep going back to the Rosie the Riveter and Jemima. Mm-hmm. Rosie the Riveter has a red handkerchief tied around her hair, and we're like, she's so casual, she's so chic, go girl. And Aunt Jemima, we immediately like, oh gosh, she got this red thing on her hair. They're wearing the same exact scarf. And so my thing is that Black women have always been held to this different standard, and Black people, but Black women in this instance have been held to this different standard that literally, if a white woman wore that same thing, we would not bat an eye. Watch, a friend of mine was like, when Kim Kardashian start wearing her bonnets to the store, I don't want to hear nothing from y'all. Like, real talk, because we know it's gonna happen because they appropriate everything else.
I've been in Walmart in the middle of the night, and I just want to say, all around the board, Y'all need to do better. White people, black people, all of us.
But you know why? That's because people are tired and they go. Yes, because people are tired. They worked all day, so they wait till. I can tell you because I've been one of those people. I've never worn a bonnet, but I usually pull on like you said, some sweatpants and a t-shirt or whatever.
Sweatpants, and t-shirt, that's fine. But like you.
But who gets to decide what's fine?
I do.
Right, for you. And that's my point. You get to decide what's right for you. Like you just started. What I appreciate most about what you said is for me and my house. And I think household. That's the thing. If people if they responded in that way, hey, for me, it's not my thing, but that's not the thing. People have been very judgmental against other people. And my thing is, why do you care what's on her head?
Oh, yeah.
She ain't hurting you. She ain't paying none of your bills. Or not paying none of your bills, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I don't feel it like that. But once, like I said, it's for me and mine.
But a lot of people do.
yeah, it's for me and mine. Don't no bonnets. we dress. We wear regular clothes.
I'm gonna wear a bonnet out the house tomorrow.
Yeah, then you ain't gonna get back in. Locks change.
I want to switch this since we're policing women's hair products and hair body parts. Do you? So I was watching this show, and there were these guys. And they were going through a scrotum waxing. Do you know what a scrotum waxing is?
I can imagine, and it sounds terrible. I'm already anti it, whatever it is. That sounds terrible.
So my question is, do you remove hair from your body?
Whoa,
you're a pretty smooth dude. Do you?
She waits for the live performance to ask about
I was like,
my pubic hair care.
I was not being specific about pubic hair, but if you want to,
I mean, you went straight. You said scrotum.
I was going in a different direction, but we out here now. So,
Mom, if you on here, it's her fault. She said it.
But just in general, not specific to your genital area, but do you remove hair from your body
genitals
other than your head?
Okay, so this is a controversy that goes straight to me because I've been accused all my life of shaving my body parts. Like my arms are smooth. That's the way I was.
You have the smoothest skin I have ever seen on a man. Like no hair at all.
Stop. Go on.
But meanwhile, your 10-year-old wants to start shaving.
Right.
I was like, don't do it, sis. Don't do it. It's a trap. It's a trap. I was like, it's 30 years later. I wish I could turn.
So I was born a hairless ape. And A5. But anyway.
I knew it was coming.
But I'm a naturally smooth individual, so I don't have to shave.
Do you understand other men shaving?
There's certain manscaping things that I do that I won't do.
Like what?
We ain't gonna go over that. That's for the missus. Just know I have to keep things in check. Make sure you ain't getting too wild.
Don't come up in here.
Don't want to go into the jungle. It's cool. But
George.
Oh God. That's a horrible thing to think we're manscaping George of the Jungle.
Yo, by the way, I was talking to somebody this weekend about Brendan Fraser. I was like, we were talking about Penelope Cruz and how she's like not memorable. Like I never read, like literally whenever she does a movie and someone's like Penelope Cruz was in there, I was like, she was.
I feel like you have a lot of hate towards Penelope Cruz. I feel like Penelope Cruz comes up a lot. I don't have hate.
I just think she's overrated.
I have no feelings either way.
Yeah. Here's my thing. It's not that I won't even say she's overrated. What it burns me up that she has an Oscar. That's what it is for me.
Oh, that's right. She does have an Oscar,
doesn't she? Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
But that's why Oscars don't matter.
But wait. But here's the thing. Penelope Cruz has an Oscar and Glenn Close does not. See? Nope. See how crazy that is?
Hey, Penelope Cruz was in Vanilla Sky. And Vanilla Sky
and I will just say it was a terrible movie.
Terrible movie.
But at least that one was memorable.
Yeah, it was. It was memorable how bad it was. Like you're in a movie theater, like, wow, this is so
Other
bad.
than that, and Vicky Cristina Barcelona, which is the movie she won an Oscar for because basically they split the vote against all the other actresses who were up for an award that year. But other than that, there's literally nothing she's done where I was like, oh my gosh, she was great in that because I don't remember her.
Yeah, I mean. It happens.
Anyway, I made that segue from Brendan Fraser, but I was trying to set all of that up. But
I don't believe that there's a Brendan Fraser reference.
Well, no, there was because I was like, she to me is like, actually, he's better off because I was like, Brendan Fraser is one of those, he works all the time, and you're like, but I don't remember him in anything. Like when you see him, you go, oh yeah, but he works or he used to work all the time.
Every time you see Brendan Fraser, you're surprised, like, oh, that's Brendan.
You're like, how does he keep getting cast and stuff? He's like a D-list, A-list actor.
Right. He always ends. Yeah, right. Like he'd be like, how did he get this? His agent's great.
Yeah. Well, maybe we need to hook you, find out who his agent is, and get y'all connected. Oh, Mark Wahlberg. Wait. Oh, we said, can you come off of your Mark Wahlberg?
Okay, I've been being nice to Mark Wahlberg because Mark Wahlberg's mother passed.
And but that was like 2 weeks ago.
Extremely sad about that.
We won't talk. We won't hit him up.
I'm not gonna hit. We'll wait till May.
I mean, it's June.
I'm not gonna say anything about him talking about he's from the hood, even though New Kids on the Block was booming when he was saying he was in the hood.
But you keep saying that, but he wasn't in New Kids on the Block. So,
but his brother was in New Kids on the Block.
New Edition was also still living in.
And the money goes to the same household.
New Edition tells the story all the time how they would get off the tour bus and be dropped in the ghetto. So
because they black.
So they had the same exact manager.
Yeah, because
now what you want? Now what you gonna do?
I'm not gonna say nothing about Marky Mark and his Calvin Klein draws.
Let's move on.
You know what I want to talk about? But
I want to talk about other people's money.
Other people's money? Are you talking about the movie?
No.
You actually talking about
I was reading an advice column, as I sometimes do. When I'm doing my deep Facebook dive, like everybody else in the bathroom.
Facebook is the
when
devil.
I'm like I have nothing but time. So I was reading this letter to an advisor, whatever, and basically this woman wrote in that her boyfriend is a member of a very wealthy family. He's like an attorney or something. His family is very well off. He has a younger brother who is not financially stable. And so the parents help out the younger brother. They give him money for things or whatever. Right. And the older brother he doesn't really get financial support or whatever. Oh, the younger brother is married with a wife and what have you. Right. So the girlfriend and her boyfriend, who live in different, like they're dating long distance, she mentioned to him that she didn't think it was fair that his parents financially supported the younger brother and that they didn't financially support him. So I'm reading this and I'm saying to myself, first of all, this is not your money, girl. First of all, you're not even married to this man. Let's just start there. You're not even in the same state as this man, okay? But you're dating this guy. First of all, his money is not your business. Let's start there. Okay. His money is not your business. But second of all, his family, which you have not even married into yet, is not your business. But not only are you worried and interested as to what's happening with that money, but you're frustrated that he's not getting. Okay, you're a parent. I'm not. I would think if it were me and I had 2 children and one of them were financially stable and comfortable and well off and another one was struggling, that I would, if I had the means, help out the one who is struggling. Now, that's not to say I wouldn't help out the other one if they came and they said they needed help. But if one of them is struggling and is in need of assistance immediately, that would be I'm going to help that kid out. I'm not going to not help my kid out if I have all these means. So I'm starting with first of all, with that part of it, which is what's wrong with the parent helping out a kid if they are able to help that kid out?
The only, we don't know any other underlying issues because that wasn't in your story, but only concern I'd ever have about helping a kid with money is that that is enabling that kid to not actually become an adult.
Absolutely.
But otherwise, it's their money, it's their time, it's theirs. So shut the hell up and worry about your own business.
But also for me, if I'm in that family, this is setting off all kind of red flags, which is get away from this girl. She checking our money, counting your money. Like,
girl, run.
I don't like to call women gold diggers. I don't like to call anybody gold diggers, but I'm like, if this doesn't feel like a classic gold digger situation, I mean, I feel like Kanye right now, and I don't like that comparison.
Don't ever feel like Kanye. Please don't.
No, please. I do. Go ahead.
No, I said we anti-Kanye. Sorry.
Pretty much.
Except for the beats are tight. Sorry, but he's
listen. Everything he did before 2015 in terms of music, I'm here for.
Hey, and some of the later stuff is good. It's just you have to ignore the rest of it.
I don't think I've heard anything he's done in like the
Nas album he produced is amazing to me.
Yeah, but he's not on it.
I mean, he made all the beats.
I don't care about him.
And he rhymes on it too.
Oh yeah, any tracks with Kanye on good. I don't know though. He maybe he's coming back to himself. I don't know.
No,
he's not. He's pretty far gone.
He's so in the sunken place, all the way sunken down.
Actually, Kanye is actually a really interesting segue. I want to talk about young people, not young people. I want to talk about this one particular young person and mental health. And how proud I am of Naomi Osaka for recognizing where she was emotionally and physically and saying, yo, I know what my triggers are. And I know that every time I sit down with the press at the French Open, y'all do something to trigger me. And I'm already not feeling great. Right. And I know the bull crap questions y'all gonna come with. So I'm gonna go ahead and pay this fine.
Right.
And then, of course, they try and change the rules and say, no, you can't just pay a fine. We're gonna expel you. And she's like, you know what? I bring more to this than y'all do. I'm out. I'm gonna protect myself. So I'm curious to know, because we haven't talked. I'm curious to know your thoughts about it.
I wonder if it was a famous tennis player like Steffi Graf or Monica Seles, and the situation had happened, if they had been responding the same way. Because the first, so it's all a business. I understand that. But if I see the number 2 player in the world complaining about having mental health issues, as a business, the first thing I'm going to do is reach out to that individual and say, hey, what can we do? What can we do to make this more comfortable for you? I understand that they have that these press conferences are used as a promotional tool, even though nobody really cares about the press conferences. The press cares about the press conferences. Actual people do not care about the press conference unless somebody pops off, right?
Because she could give all her responses via Twitter, on Instagram, or wherever else.
Exactly.
But they want the fresh meat.
But that's my whole feeling is that this girl is 22, 23 years old. She's a young lady. She's an up and coming star. She's the next Venus. She's the next Venus and Serena Williams. Let's protect our star and ask her, hey, sweetie, what can we do to make this more comfortable for you?
Although I'm gonna need you to not call a grown woman sweetie, but yeah.
I call everybody sweetie. Sorry.
I mean, you do, but that's part of the problem.
Shut up, sweetie. Oh, sorry. Don't at me.
When this is over with, he gonna be like, and did you have to?
I'm happy that she took the stand. I'm happy that she is looking out for herself. I'm happy that Serena and Venus immediately said, yo, this is the right thing to do. And we need to talk about a culture of when there's nothing, I can't say there's nothing, but in sports, I can't think of anything more emotional than a press conference after performing.
Like, can you imagine the worst day of on your regular everyday person job? Somebody sticking a microphone and a camera in your face, going, "How did that feel when you went in that conference room and everybody said so you rejected your idea?
You screwed up that presentation. How'd they go?" They just put it in their face and they're like,
"Hey, well, you didn't make your sales goal this week. How did that make you feel?"
Right?
Can you imagine?
And you take that and multiply it times 1,000,000 because it's all these people watching all the time. So I think it was lame that the fine thing is like, look, she said she paid the fine. What's the problem? You know?
But it's the constantly we just got through talking about this, about the voting rights, how like all of a sudden these Republicans, because there was such a significant turnout of people of color in this last election, so now they're going around to change all the so that's exactly what happens. It's like, oh, you played by the rules and we still didn't get what we wanted, okay, then we'll just try and change the rules at the last minute. And that for me was the real I'm going to use my good friend Fatima's good favorite word. That was the shitty part, right? Like the shitty part was quite literally this thing where she played by the rules, which was, I told you all I was not going to do this because it was, a threat to my mental capacity and my mental health. And rather than hear that and go, we hear you and we'll just accept the fine, they decided to change the rules because they're going to get this black girl to play. And right. I read this article, or it might not have even been an article. It might have just been someone's post where they were commenting on how they believe that there was an assumption when Naomi came, as she was coming up, because she's been in the mix for a couple years now, but there was this assumption that because she was biracial, that maybe that she would be, and she looked a certain way, that maybe she was gonna be an easier black girl to manage versus Serena and Venus, who've been much more. I mean, they straight out of Compton, so they,
right.
You know what I mean?
Literally like, straight out.
Right? No, right, literally, right. So she was talking about how the assumption more than likely was, and I could see this. You could see them setting her and Venus up, or Serena up, to kind of be these competitors, and by saying, look at Serena, who's super aggressive, and look at this sweet little girl and Naomi has come out the gate. She's been like super involved in advocacy and activism work, and been very vocal about like Black Lives Matter and just racial issues in general. And so I think that too has been off-putting for them, this notion that they thought she was going to be a safe black girl. Right. Like she wasn't fully black, so that means she was gonna leave. She was gonna be like, oh no, she going on.
Like, I date rappers.
And has the audacity to, for me, what I was most proud of was not even her standing up to, one of the biggest sports agencies in the world, but and venues in the world, but as Black women, and I've been talking a lot about this actually as I spent my time this past weekend with these younger women, I spent a lot of time talking about how as Black women, we have to learn to take care of ourselves. Right. And that can't just be something that we say that we put on, a poster and stick it on our wall, and we don't actually live that. It's like Black women people have to take care of themselves, but I'm calling out Black women in the sense that like we are always the ones who are like, Jamal, I was giving the example of how like you always joke about how me and Nicole never go to the bathroom. Like we know we have to pee, but it's always one more thing we got to do. I send this email or go make this kid lunch or do whatever.
In 2 weeks, we're going to do our PP special. I'm going to talk about how women are always holding their pee, and y'all need to liberate yourselves, women.
Real talk, Jamal. Though I was saying to my sisters this week, I was like, Jamal jokes about we need to go pee, but truthfully, it is a perfect example of a lack of self-care. This thing of, because we're not peeing just to not pee. Like we're not peeing because we're like, that's time I could be doing something. I could be sending this last email, or I could go and fold that last piece of laundry, as opposed to going, you need to pee.
Hey, everybody who's listening right now, even if it's 5 of y'all, if you could put in the chat whether or not you got to go pee, and then go pee. Okay, I just want to know how many people got to go pee. You should be peeing all the time. It's healthy. Okay.
Meanwhile, men like, I gotta pee.
Yeah, right.
And they go, y'all just go.
No, we just go pee.
We got to make a plan. In fact, if I gotta pee, I'm thinking about all the things I can do in the next 10 minutes before I have to really, really, really pee.
Yeah, so, dudes be like in the middle of something, they just drop. Nope, gotta go pee.
Jamal knows I would stand up and do the pee dance for like 20 minutes here, and I'll be standing right in front of a bathroom. He's like, go to the bathroom.
And meanwhile, I'll walk out mid conversation. Blah, 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 gotta pee.
Yep.
Oh, we done ran the gamut today, huh?
Oh, we have. I do want to talk about, as we start to wind down here, I do want to talk about, and actually I do want to go to the chat and see if we have any questions or comments from the folks who are watching at home. I want to talk about, you've been wanting to talk about this for a while, cultural appropriation, and specifically you want to talk about Bruno Mars. And I'm going to throw a monkey wrench in the conversation and say, I want to talk about Bruno Mars, and I want to talk about Justin Timberlake. And I specifically want to talk about Justin Timberlake because this past weekend, Swizz Beatz and Timbaland, who created the Versus format, they apparently went back up head to head, and there was some shade thrown at JT. So I want to kind of, who has worked with Timbaland a lot. So I want to kind of talk about, let's start with Bruno Mars, and then we'll get into the JT discussion.
Okay, this good.
Look, you're exhausted already.
Because I had the most ridiculous argument with a great friend who I love with all my heart, who was telling me that Bruno Mars was a cultural appropriation, but Justin Timberlake wasn't. Which I was like, now honestly, he was baiting me, by the way. But I was totally falling for it. I was like, what are you saying?
Your hair started exploding.
So let me say first, and I'm going to admit this: I love Bruno Mars with all my heart.
Oh yeah,
I love Bruno Mars.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a football watching man, and during the halftime, when they got to the halftime show with Bruno Mars, I didn't want the game to come back on. I want Bruno Mars to continue playing music because he's magical and he should be cherished forever. Now, when we get into cultural appropriation, listen. So we've come past the Elvis days of when Elvis literally took music and performed it just like Black people that he saw. Elvis literally ripping off Big Mama Thornton, Chuck Berry, and so many other people. He literally stole their performances, not just their music, but how they performed it, which is despicable. And we've evolved through time. We've had people like the Rolling Stones pay homage to Muddy Waters, who brought Muddy Waters on tour, who went out of their way to give Muddy Waters money when Muddy Waters was struggling, right? They paid homage to him. So I'm talking about the spirit in which you do the music, right? So there's a band called St. Paul and the Broken Bones, which is the all-white band that does soul music, and they're amazing. They pay homage every chance they get. They give money back every chance they get. I agree with that. That's fine. In Bruno Mars's case, I feel like he's performing the music that he loves, that he is authentically in. It's not something that he's just doing to get more followers, to get more people to love him, a la Justin Timberlake. He's doing the music that is authentic to him.
But couldn't some argue that would be what that would be the argument that some would make around Elvis, that this is the music that he loved and that he was paying he's paying homage to these folks by replicating the dances that they do.
Stealing.
Listen, I'm just giving you the other side of the argument if you're going to defend Bruno Mars, which is
we now have a music that has expanded beyond culture, right? That we have these musics that have gone, they've come from their little niches and expanded everywhere. And real talk, I'm down with everybody doing whatever is right for them as long as it's authentic, right?
I'm not.
Yeah, you're not?
No.
For people who are authentically that they love this music, that this is their thing. It's not just I'm going to make a cool hip hop album because that's what's hot right now.
Yeah, but I think that what is authentic has to be proven out, right? So, for example, what's his name? Justin Bieber, who was produced by Usher, would say, "Oh, yo, I'm doing the music that's around me. I'm doing," you know what I mean? Whereas I find it's so here's what I will say. I agree with you about Bruno Mars. I don't view him as here's what I will say.
I don't view him as a culture vulture. I do not.
I don't view him, that's the framing of it. Now, I do, however, recognize that Bruno Mars is not black.
Right.
Like, he has no black in him. Like, I won't be there. And I had to do some deep research. And I was like, is he black? Like, and honestly, I will admit, I give a pass. I'm much more fluid about this type of thing. We're talking about other people of color. Mm-hmm. Because more often than not, more other people of color, whether it's Latinos or Native American people, because our communities a lot of times are intertwined. I found this a lot when I lived in New York, that I had to actually check a couple of my Puerto Rican friends who were using the N-word. And I was like, first of all, at that particular moment in life, I was not necessarily using that word myself. And so I'm like, what we're not going to do, I don't care how cool you get with black folks, you're not finna call me a nigga. I don't care who you are. Like, I don't care. But the conversation that I was having with that friend is, she grew up with nothing but black folks. So in her mind, she's just talking to her friends, right? And I'm like, but you Puerto Rican. We ain't doing that. No. Now, if you're a black Puerto Rican, sure, do your thing, but no. So I say that to say, so I do think that there are a lot of instances where, to your point, it is a natural part of your culture, in the sense that, like, if you grew up in the Bronx, there's hip hop and there's rap, there's all kinds of stuff around you on a regular basis. So it for me this is an extension of who you are and the experiences you've had, whether it's in the place you lived or the people around you. So that is a legitimate connection to me. And that's how I look at Bruno Mars, and that, like, when you look at the people that he was around and the music that he took in, like, that's what it was. Right. So I'm not offended by him. I know. And to your point, he absolutely is always recognizing from whence he came. Right.
I mean, his first Grammys performance, he paid a whole big old tribute to Jackie Wilson.
1,000%.
That he brought to the Grammys, not the Grammys brought to him.
Right. So I acknowledge that, and honestly, he's not somebody who gives me heartburn, but there are people who do. And I will admit, I have been a big Justin Timberlake fan. But I'm also one of those people who, when that whole thing with Janet Jackson went down at the Super Bowl, was like, wait, what we doing? So Janet is ostracized, and like JT, like, there's nothing.
Like, I pulled it off.
Like so many white men before him, right? You know what I'm saying? So for me, I'm always like, the other things that I appreciate about someone like Bruno Mars is, to your point, like, there are black people around him there, but some could also say, hey,
they say something about Justin Timberlake.
I was gonna say, but some will also say that's cover. Right. It doesn't lessen the impact. If you feel like he is culturally appropriating, then having black people around doesn't make it better. It just legitimizes it. Right.
I mean, like,
so
what do you say about somebody like Amy Winehouse? Adele?
Right. Exactly.
I mean, Amy Winehouse was brilliant, but also she was a white person doing black music.
And so that underscores how differently our music and our culture is perceived in other countries, right? When you go to London, I will never forget this. When I was flying, I did a trip to London. It was my first stop, and I flew, I think Virgin Atlantic or whatever. It was one of those airlines. They play, and I was shocked. They play soul music. I don't mean like, I mean like soul music the whole ride there. And when I got to London, I understood better, because their whole culture is like, it's like they're stuck in the 60s and the 70s. Right. They love black music. Right. Exactly. And so Amy Winehouse is one of those people. Adele is one of those people.
They grew up in that.
This is literally what they grew up hearing. Right. Now, my frustration is they grew up hearing that. And then you got Beyonce, who's been singing this way her whole life. It is naturally a part of her culture as a black woman. And she gets passed over for Adele, who sounds like a black woman. Right. So that for me is the frustration of
it's the crossover, right? It's the crossover.
Yeah. When we do our own music, that's a little too black. But when y'all do it, now it's, we can enjoy that. That's
and a lot of times you can't. It's the Eminem thing, right? Well, like, Eminem is undoubtedly a lyrical genius. But however, but the reason he's so rich is because he crossed over. Because
he has an asterisk.
Right.
You get an asterisk by your name.
Right.
For us.
I mean, and for him, I mean, it's not his fault, but it is what it is, right?
Yeah. So. Yeah. Interesting. Well, sir, I know, right? I want to give us a second to and y'all bear with us because we are not technologically that savvy, and I do want to make sure that we don't miss if there are any questions in the chat. Do y'all have any questions before we jump in here? And bear with me. I see we got folks online talking, so hold on.
Make sure everybody peed. People peeing. Oh, she put herself on mute, so now I just get to talk. This is scary, y'all. I'm on by myself. She's just saying things. I could say anything.
Well, one thing your wife just said that you straight up do a Ned Flanders scream when you hear Bruno Mars.
I love Bruno Mars unapologetically. I will not apologize. My microphone just got really loud. Wow, what is happening?
So we're gonna do some quick shout outs to the folks who are watching. Let's see, we've got John Abney in the house. What up, John Abney?
What up, John?
Of course, Nicole Narcy Sterling is in the house. We've got Jonathan Rumbly, my sister Kendra Tillman. You're late, but it's all good.
John Rumbly.
we're gonna do a we'll do a I'm doing too much. Y'all probably getting feedback. We're going to actually, we were planning to live stream both on Facebook and YouTube, but YouTube is being shady. Jerks. They're like, y'all ain't live stream before. We need a whole 24 hours before we can post this video. So we will actually repost the recording of this on our YouTube channel so you can watch it after this, and we'll leave it up here on our page as well. I don't see any more questions in the chat. So I'm going to move us right into our For the Culture, because of course we got For the Culture. So we don't have our music.
Usually we have our my brother Lee put in the Lee George. Lee George has music for us for the culture. You guys should see it in our podcast.
Lee's we hope you're feeling better, Lee. Yeah, feel better. I do want to give us a quick plug. If you are just now joining us, thank you for coming in for this first live edition of Whatever We Want with J&K. Our show airs. We drop new episodes every Friday. To catch them when they drop, make sure you are subscribed and following us on all of the streaming platforms: Apple Music, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify. I don't know if we're on Spotify, but pretty much everywhere you can find a podcast. We're on. Yeah. And the show is Whatever We Want with J&K. So just give us a look up. And also you can go, if you're not following this page, Chief Disruptor Productions here on Facebook. That's where we drop all of our information as well. So definitely follow us there. You can follow us on IG at Chief Disruptor Productions, as well as Whatever We Want J&K. The June episode, the Juneteenth episode. Probably on Juneteenth. Yep, well, on June 18th. We'll drop it on that Friday.
So. Right before.
I also want to give another shout out to this next episode that's coming out next week, y'all. So our highest rated episode so far is the episode titled "Let's Talk About Sex, Kids." I wonder why.
Sex is totally uncontroversial.
Right. So we heard what the people said, and so we are going to we spent some time with a couple of single friends to talk about dating, sex, romance, and all of that stuff. And so we're going to bring the first part of that conversation to you all probably next Friday. And go ahead, Jamal. You were about to jump in.
I was not.
Oh, yeah. At some point,
I'm feeling nervous in the corner talking about sex. I'm like,
no.
Mommy watching. Mommy, don't turn on this on. All right.
Yeah. And look, I love you. I love that your wife is part of the production team, because she's texting us. Y'all make sure y'all talk about the Juneteenth episode.
The Juneteenth episode. We should. Why we say like we just escaped from slavery? The Juneteenth episode.
Well, that's because that's why. Well, with that, we're gonna.
Yeah, John, get them in order. I see John just put that down there. Sorry, John said trying to get the Facebook. We should get.
Get the folks in order, John. What we will do as soon as this episode is over, we will upload this, so it'll probably be less than an hour before this will be available on YouTube. In the meantime, we are at the moment of our For the Culture. Y'all know we like to bring y'all stuff to reflect on that's specific to our culture. One thing is, before I give you the actual For the Culture, I don't know. Look, the edibles have worn off, or almost have worn off, but I'm still struggling a little bit apparently. So, but what I was going to say was, before I tell you For the Culture, I really encourage you to go back and look at some of your classics. I really enjoy watching me and my sister, we watched Brown Sugar. We watched Love and Basketball, which after having watched Love Jones recently, rewatched Love Jones recently, and rewatched Brown Sugar, y'all wrong. Love and Basketball is not the best. Some people think Love and Basketball is the best black love story.
Can I say something real quick?
No.
Okay, I'm not a big fan of Brown Sugar or Love and Basketball.
You go to hell, Jamal.
Yeah, Love and Basketball is not a good movie. And
It's not,
Brown
it's
Sugar's
not
you know what saves Brown Sugar for me? Most Def is brilliant in Brown Sugar.
everybody is brilliant in honestly. No,
Fine.
everybody is great. First of all, Sanaa Lathan is the most authentic. Every line she gives, and it's one of the reasons I think that people sleep on her.
It is, J-Lo.
Because
right. It's bad. Well, go ahead.
I won't say it's bad. I will say it's not as good as everybody makes it out to be. Like, everybody's like, it's the best. I was like, have y'all rewatched that movie recently? First of all, and I know I'm going off because we're supposed to be wrapping up, but first of all, every time we get to the scene where she apologizes for not being there, I was like, yo,
Black woman empowerment coming.
it pisses me off to the nth degree that this woman was trying to hold on to her spot. First of all, trying to secure a spot on a major basketball team. And you know full doggone well that if the roles had been reversed and she was up somewhere on the bench crying at night and you were like, I gotta go or coach is not gonna let me play, most dudes would not stay. They would go and we would understand. We'd be mad, but we would go. So this notion that she made the wrong decision by choosing to actually go and do something that was for her pisses me off to this day. So sorry.
I think the decision should be made is to watch another movie because it's not a good movie.
Yo, when I got to the end, first of all, I was like, when I saw Tyra Banks, I was like, oh, I forgot how terrible she is.
Oh, don't be mean. Hey, talking about she is bad.
She's so bad.
She's so
bad.
She's bad in Higher Learning too.
But the thing was, but even when the movies came out, we knew she was bad. Like when I remember seeing those, I remember when she was on Fresh Prince going, why? Like,
because she's famous.
Because she's exactly.
And she fine.
I mean, to each his own, but
she fine. Tyra, you fine.
Okay, well,
but you can't.
I'm not her target audience. So anyway, my part of the lead into my For the Culture will be go back and watch some classics. Like when we didn't have Wi-Fi for like less than 24 hours last week, and I was like, oh gosh, we were all like, what are we gonna do? And I was like, let me go pull out my DVD. So that's how I came.
I can listen to Black classics too.
Huh?
Can I listen to Black classics too?
Yeah. Go ahead.
We'll go do yours first. Go ahead. We'll go one for one. You name one, I'll name one. Go.
Well, I just named Brown Sugar, so you go ahead.
Let's go ahead and say Fresh. From Giancarlo Esposito, Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes!
I can't remember the name a little bit. Fresh is one of my favorite movies of all time. You should definitely check it out. Next.
Well, if you're doing Fresh, I'm gonna do Bombs. What am I trying to say? Bomb Squad.
Oh, Bomb Squad. Dope.
Yeah, with
Bomb Squad is a Drop Squad.
Drop Squad. Yes, it's Drop Squad with Eric LaSalle. Your girl, you know who else is in it that nobody ever remembers?
Who?
A girl who played Kim in Different World. She's in that.
I can't remember her name. I know you're talking about.
Yeah. Charnel Brown or something like that.
You used to have the biggest crush on her. So her.
Did you really?
Love
see that? I mean, look at you and Nicole. I could totally see you being
it. What was I about to say? To Sleep with Anger, Danny Glover. It's a movie that just got put back on. It just got put on streaming. I think it's on Amazon right now. It is we doing a screening this week. Yeah, it is a brilliant movie. It's probably Danny Glover's best movie.
I would say if you dig Lovecraft Country or if you enjoyed them, it's not the same, but the sense of eeriness, that sense of like what is like mystical mythology, like not mythology, but mystical kind of spiritism. I would say so. To that point, I'm going to match your To Sleep with Anger, and I'm going to say Eve's Bayou.
Oh God,
yeah,
so good.
That's a good one. Casey Lemons at her best. Yeah.
What's the name of the director who did that? The girl.
Casey Lemons.
Casey Lemons did that.
I just said it. Sorry. Turn your hearing aid up, Grandpa.
I'm not listening. I'm a bad man.
You are. Our production assistant is like, yes, he's by you. Yes. Well, I know you'd like that, Jayla, because you're a girl from the South, so you appreciate that. Well, that feels like a perfect segue then into our actual For the Culture. So it is June. It is Pride Month. So we want to shout out and celebrate all of our friends and family members who are members of the LGBTQ community. We are proud allies. We support you. So shout out, happy Pride. And in that vein, in honor of Pride, I'm going to encourage you all to go watch what has always been one of my favorite series. I haven't seen this new season, but I am going to watch it this weekend, of Master of None. Aziz Ansari has flipped the camera this season, and Lena Waithe, who wrote a lot of the past episodes, this whole season focuses on her and her significant other's relationship. I think they're married in this season. So in honor of Pride and in honor of For the Culture, that is my suggested For the Culture. So go check out this season of Master of None on Netflix.
Dope.
So Jamal, any last words before
Thank you for all the people tuned in for this whole live. Thank you for giving us your Thursday evenings.
Yeah, and let us know what y'all think. Oh, I'm sorry, Jamal.
No, but I was going to say, let us know what you think.
Let us know. Yeah,
we're going to be doing plenty more of these because this has actually been pretty comfortable, pretty chill.
Yeah, I don't want to mess it up, but it's so fun. If y'all could see our normal shenanigans, I'm not kidding you. Yeah. Every week it gets harder and harder.
Fire, things are falling, the internet stops.
Literally, so it's just kind of like the worst thing that's happened so far is my nail fell off. So I mean, we'll see what happens when we actually start processing the recording. And of course, for those of you who are just seeing me for the first time with my teeny weeny fro, yes, I cut all my hair off. So
I am not my hair. I am not the skin.
It's so funny because it's in this weird phase. When I first cut it, it was shorter. And so now it's starting to grow out, but it's in that in-between phase. So like, look.
Okay, don't do that. What you doing? You messing it up.
Because that's the thing I keep telling a friend. She was like, you keep messing with your hair, there's nothing back there. I was like, no, really, I'm pushing it behind my ear.
So at this point we're like that last Lord of the Rings movie where it just kept having those
we're just running. This is like this is the Marvel Cinematic Universe where we're giving you the end credits, the preview. No, seriously, you all, we really do appreciate you all so much. There's so many people who we know are listening on a regular basis and who send us notes and give us subject topic ideas and who are like, yeah, we're enjoying it. So if you're enjoying it and you're having a good time, listen, tell friends, share with folks, and encourage them to listen and to join these conversations. As Jamal said, we'll definitely start doing a few more of these lives. We're not going to go totally live, but we'll definitely do more of these just so we can engage, because we like to engage with the people. So that being said, Jamal, I think that's all we got. Jayla, you got anything else before we get out of here? Jayla says she's proud she knew all these movies. We're proud of you too, girl.
Jayla Young, she knows all. She got all our history in.
Yeah. We try and make sure. Well, if nobody has anything else, we want to thank you all for coming out. I'm going to pull my Russell Simmons. Good night. God bless.
And peace out, y'all. Love y'all.
See y'all later. Jamal, you know I got to sign off.
I
haven't asked you the question.
But I thought you messed up. And okay.
No.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead.
Jamal, say good night to the people.
Good night to the people.
Peace out, y'all. We see y'all next time. Bye.
Peace.